Okay, I got this guitar from a friend of mine who said it was in trouble, and he ain't kidding. Um, this is an Epiphone special 2. We're going to take a look at. The neck is from Hunger. I don't know what happened here. It's like half on, half off. I did plug it in. The electronics, which is a surprise. They seem to be in good shape. So the pickups are good, the controls are good, all that stuff is good. So that's not bad. So the next thing we need to do is tear this apart and see if we can get the neck back on the guitar, and then check the neck for straightness and see if it's warped or anything. But right now this is really a mess. It's ugly. And I think, frankly, that we will be able to put this together. We'll see what happens with the neck when we try to put the neck back on. The tuners look okay. Maybe we can replace those, as they're kind of loosey-goosey here. They're just cheap, crummy tuners. I've got other ones around that I could put on there. And the jack was a little bit loose. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. So we're going to tear this apart. We're going to clean it up. I think we'll end up replacing the tuners because they're terrible. But first we've got to see what kind of shape the neck's in, and if the truss rod works. If the truss rod works, we can probably turn this into something. So anyway, we'll be right back. I just put my neck gauge on the neck here, and it's got a little bit of a back bow. But it's pretty close. It ain't bad. So if the truss rod works, we've got to get in under here and see if that works. And we'll take the neck off and take this whole thing apart and see what we can do. Okay. All right. So we got the strings off on the other side and removed them. Okay. And we took the hardware off the bottom down here. There's a bunch of nicks and scratches. The next thing we're going to do is to take the neck off and see how that goes, and see if it can be replaced or reinserted, if you will. See what the hell's going on here with the neck and why. I don't know why he would have been left in such a lousy position. Because the screws are just loose. So whoever mucked with it before just quit. I'm going to go get a power screwdriver and make my life a little bit easier. Hold on 1 minute. No, I got one right here. Never mind. We got one in the building. So let's use a little power. Make it go quicker and a little less painful. Seems to be sitting down into the slot now that we've got the screws loose. So maybe there's some hope. Are these different screws? Yeah, there's 4 different screws, I think, in here. I don't even think this is the original set. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they're all screwed up. There's 4 different lengths. That's interesting. I don't know what the hole in the middle is all about. But we'll see if that just comes off. And it does come off. Okay, so we got rid of that. Now we've got to see what the hell the problem is. I checked the neck for straightness a minute ago, and it's straight. Let me just vacuum up a little bit here. There's a shim in the back. So there is a shim in here. It's a wooden shim. The problem with a wooden shim is they tend to move. They swell and shrink. You need to try to do something if you need to shim it with a better material that won't change, as it goes on. So there's the shim that was in there. There's a lot of nicks and cuts and bruises here. I don't know what went on. But this looks to be I don't know, there's glue in there and all kinds of stuff. This has gotten weird over the years. The bottom of the fretboard is breaking away. So I don't know, we'll see what happens, how this goes together. I don't know why it's shimmed. It looks like it's going the wrong way with the shim in. Not quite sure why they shimmed it, because it's not sitting down anywhere even close to what it was. So I think the shim's got to go first off. I think we're going to get into trouble no matter what we do. So let's see if we can get this out of here. Let's take and find something. Hold on a minute. Don't go away, man. I've got to raise a scraper. Let me see if I can get under this with that and lift this off. I'd really like to get rid of this easily. Because it ain't doing any good at all. If anything, this shim is doing more harm than good. Oh, there we go. Okay. That's a serious blow for freedom. Okay. Okay, so what we've done is make up a shim out of some plastic here to be in the front. I scraped out all of this back stuff. There really was just all in the wrong place, just doing nothing but damage to the setup completely. And now what we'll do is see if we can't place this in, flip it over, and get a screw in and hold this in place. Okay, so to hold it in place, now I've got some new screws here that I'm going to try to put down. Let's check the height and make sure we're not going to come through the body, which I don't think we will. So, without much further ado, we're going to try to goes. All right, that's one of the new screws in front. And we'll just see if we can snap this down. And we'll put the new screws. I think it's those two. We'll put the new screws. Okay, so that's the neck with the new screws. Let's flip it over and see what it looks like. Looks like shit still. I've got to loosen these front screws and try to bring the back in first. We're still way too down. We really got to bring the front of this neck up. We're making a little bit of progress. All right, so we got the neck straightened out. I put a string on, I straightened the neck, I changed the screws. This is sitting where it will play now. We changed the string, bridge, and so forth down there. I did a truss rod adjustment. What I'm going to do now is clean it up, and I'm going to change the tuners down here if I can on this end and replace them with a set that'll work much better. All right, so we're going to replace the old tuners here. I got another set that are the same that are in better condition. So we're going to remove these guys and replace them with some other tuners that are older, but they're in better shape. So it should hold tune better once we get those done. Back in a minute. So we've got all the tuners out now, and I've changed the bridge down here to black. I got another set that I had for another guitar I was going to change over, but I'm going to put them on Doug's guitar, and we'll clean this up and make it look pretty good. Okay? Okay, so we just spent a little bit of time cleaning up. We got rid of all the smoke. I think this has been a smoky environment. It was covered with smoke. We cleaned that all up. I polished the frets. I hit that with the sanding block, and we cleaned that up, and the neck is nice looking now. The body's much better. It ain't perfect. It's got a lot of damage to it. But we're cleaning it all up. And I'm just going to do check the truss rod and see how that's looking. And if we need to, we'll do another slight truss rod adjustment. And then we'll put strings on and see how it does with tension. And see if it needs a little more adjustment. So right now the neck is flat, which is where you want to start from. What we've got to do is put the tuners on. We'll get that back together, the headstock. And I got to finish polishing up the back of the guitar. I put a little bit of wax on the front here and clean that up some with the Meguiar's spray wax, detailing wax, and we'll flip it over and do the back side. And then I'm going to get ready to put this all back together again. So here's a little bit of wax on the back. We'll put some new strap buttons on there. We'll get some black ones, which I have in my pile. We'll try to make everything on the black motif to see how that looks when we're done. So the next thing we're going to do is put the tuners on up top here. That's where we're headed now, is to Tuna City. The Big Tuna project is coming up. So we'll be back in business as a guitar. We'll get the last of these screws in. Tighten them all down. And then the tuners will be done. And we'll be ready to put strings on this guitar again. And see how well we play. And we'll just finish tightening these up, and then we'll flip it over and get the strings. All right, so we got the strings on. We got it all cleaned up. I tuned it up. It plays pretty good. I got the string height pretty good. This must have took a whack when it fell and knocked the end. So, I mean, there's a problem with the neck that you can't get it exactly right because it's damaged down this end. That's why when I first found it, the neck was bent. You know, I think it had taken a pretty hard hit. But it still is pretty playable, pretty close. No cigar, but it's pretty close. The other thing I haven't done yet is check the pickup height, which we'll do right here, right now, and see how close we are. On the bass side, all right, that's way too tight. And on the treble side, that's okay. It's only okay. It ain't great. So this is too high, so we got to drop this down a couple of turns, and this one's got to come up just a whisker. And I think that'll be fine. So let's check the bass side again. See if we made any distinct difference. No, we still got to go down some. I think that's as good as it's going to be for right now. Okay. Okay, we're replacing now the guitar strap buttons. We're going to take a wood pick. I mean a toothpick that's made out of wood, and stick it in the hole. That gives us a little fill in. And then we'll take the new black, whoops, then we'll place it into the guitar. Okay, so that's that. Pretty exciting. Okay, we finished up now with this Epiphone Special 2 that you can see right there, and it still is never going to be right. The neck is bent right down here. It must have took a hit and drove it forward. However, we have made it playable again. And this is just how my little practice is. But coming from being a dead skunk, it's a cute little black guitar now. We've replaced some of the parts, made it more black. So if nothing else, it'll look pretty good leaning up against the wall. So there you go, Doug. Done over.